Alright, time to officially kick off the action-packed weekend. Bunch of action film reviews I'm gonna do this weekend, so that. And to no one's surprise, I'm starting off with the Van Damme film, Sudden Death, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, Powers Booth, and is directed by Peter Haynes, who also directed Time Cop, which, now to remind you, is one of my favorite Van Damme movies. And it's also no surprise that I really liked this movie. It is very toned down, usual Van Damme fare. There's not a lot of action, like fighting stuff in it. There's action in it, but there's not a lot of fighting. There's gun stuff, but there's not a lot of fighting because this is more character driven. You know, surprising for a Van Damme movie that it can be character driven because all they think he can do is kick people. But he can act. You just gotta give him the right script and the right director, and this is one of them. So, Van Damme stars as Macabre Darren, who is an ex-firefighter who, after an incident of 2 years ago, is now just a fire marshal at the local hockey arena. And on this particular day, he brings his two children to the game, where also at this game there are terrorists led by an ex-government official played by Powers Booth, who want to get a lot of money from the vice president and are holding this arena hostage. So, of course, Van Damme has to do what Van Damme does best. And if you think this sounds familiar about a guy in a building trying to stop terrorists from doing bad things, it's Die Hard. It's the Die Hard clone, like Under Siege, you know, and Passenger 57, which eventually I want to watch because Wesley Snipes. But yeah, it's Die Hard. But they had the kids, which they're, you know, John McClane did have kids, but they were never in actual danger, you know. But here they are. And so, first things first. The first scene of this is entirely pointless to me. It doesn't ever come back. It just shows... It's just there to show why he's no longer a fireman. But it never really comes back into the film at all. Like, he's a fireman and he's stuck with this little girl underneath some stuff. He's yelling for people, and people aren't hearing him. But then this big old thing falls on both of them, and only the little girl dies because, you know, he's the main character of the film, so he can't die. But it doesn't make any sense that he survived and she died. And then we cut to 2 years later, and it's like, okay, are they going to come back to that? Is she going to have to be stuck under somewhere? No, it never comes back again. Never. I don't understand the point of that whole opening. It just doesn't do anything other than prove that Van Damme is basically invincible because he survived when a little girl didn't, and he would have died too if fell both of them. Cut it 2 years later, and of course, just like Die Hard, he and his wife are separated, and the kids live with her. But it is the son's birthday, I think, and he's gonna take them to a hockey game. So they do that. Meanwhile, Powers Booth and his men show up and hijack the place. Yeah, they meet the lady who's under the penguin suit, who I thought was going to end up being Van Damme's love interest, but she gets killed off, like, right away. Her name is Joan, and she dies off screen, and they find her body later, but it's just like, what the hell was the point of introducing her, man? So, before I continue, So, yeah, so, oh, I'm going to continue because there's something else. So, the, so Van Damme, as his kids, they're sitting at the thing, and he takes off to get something, to get them, so I don't know I remember where he goes, but he goes somewhere, tells them to stay there. The kids have an argument, which causes the daughter to leave. And this is the most convoluted way to get the main character's kid kidnapped I've ever seen. Her and her older brother have an argument after he sprays her with a squirt gun, causing her to drop her Coke. The soda, not the drug, obviously. She runs off and runs into the Penguin, who she was introduced to earlier, only it's one of the terrorists. And she decides, because the kid saw her kill someone, which you made the conscious choice to shoot someone in front of the girl. It's not like she walked in front. Well, there was the dead body, but she didn't have proof you did it. She just found the dead body, and then there was the Penguin. You could have just walked away. But no, because we gotta have one of the children kidnapped, so there's something for Van Damme to gain. She gets kidnapped, and is only kidnapped because she runs out of bullets. So why doesn't anyone else shoot her? This could have been very simple. You could either, you don't have to have just, it could have been simple if it was only one kid, right? And the kid is kidnapped after Van Damme starts to try to mess things up and is held hostage as a way for them to kind of get him to cooperate. That makes more sense than just her running off because of an argument with her brother and then seeing the Penguin and only being a hostage because they ran out of bullets. And then they don't try to shoot her afterwards. I know the vice president says, "Oh, you shoot her, you have to shoot me," or something. I don't know. But it's very convoluted to me. And the brother does absolutely nothing. Like, he's told to stay there and not to move, even if the place is falling down on him. That makes no sense, given what happened in the opening of this film, where a building did fall down on him and a little girl. So why would you tell your son to stay there, leaving him to the fate that you gave the little girl? And it does play in to later in the film, but it just doesn't make any sense. Also, there are two things that are shown earlier on in this film that you know are going to come back later. One is the squirt gun, and it's shown, what is that? And then like, oh, that's something to use later in the film, and it does. And then there's also the sign language used by the daughter to him, to the father, to show later in the film, which really don't know why he does it, but we'll get there. So, yeah, the daughter's gone. He tries to rescue her. He starts to figure out what's going on, and never once tries to actually go up to the box until the end of the film. I know they show that they drop the key down the thing. There's got to be some other way than that elevator inside the building to get there. He doesn't even try to do it until the movie's almost over. Like, he doesn't even, like... Because here's the thing. If he had done it earlier, if he'd be like, okay, I can go outside and I'm going to do it this way. And he fought off the two guards that are up there, which... That's another stupid thing. Like, there's one guard, he kicks one, the other one just happens to pop up like a video game, like a respawn villain pops up or something. It's like, what? Why is that other guy there? What? Huh? But he knocks one guy out, the other guy comes up, they have a fight, and the guy, ends up falling into the scoreboard. If he had done that sooner, because the whole thing is that Powers Booth, he has set up, he wants a certain amount of money transferred during each round. What do you call it? Quarter? During each quarter. And that's not done. He's going to kill people. And if his demands aren't met by the end of the game, he's gonna blow up the whole place. Van Damme does take out a few of the C4 explosives, but I don't know. Yeah, what he does at the end of this is the guy drops the guy down and he comes out and he swings, he goes in and he crashes into the box and takes him down. And when that happens, you sit there going, why the hell didn't you do that to begin with? You're running around with, like, your butt's on fire the entire fucking movie. Like, why wasn't your first instinct you know where your daughter is. You know she's in that booth. Why fuck around for the entire film? Other than we have to have this whole film last that long. I mean, if common sense was actually used in movies, they'd be over within a half hour. Common sense, his daughter gets kidnapped. He sees where it's going to the booth. He finds the place where it goes, climbs up. Some fight scenes here or there. He goes up to the top of the roof. Fight scenes here or there. Comes down, throws the guy, swings in, kills the bad guys. We're done in a half hour. And that's why he couldn't do it, because if he did use his common sense brain, it would be over too soon. And yeah. And you can't even say that with Die Hard. Die Hard is almost a perfect movie, but there was no point in Die Hard where he had an easy out. You know, he tried to get to the cops. They wouldn't listen. He tried to do other things. There was more bad guys. He had no shoes. You know, he was more at odds with what was going on, didn't have an easy out. He could have climbed up to the roof and did that from the very beginning. And it would have been over. So when he presented with something I realized partway through the film, I was like, wait, he knows where his daughter, why isn't he trying to get to the booth? And then when he does it in the film, I'm like, why did it take so long to do that? Like, he knew where his daughter was the entire time, and he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off this entire movie, pretending to be a goalie, fight enough bad guys. It's like, why didn't he climb up to the roof before? It just... But yeah, he pretends to be the goalie because he's running from the thugs. And so the goalie apparently has 104 fever, which, why would you let your goalie play with 104 fever? Again, you want to win, but he's not going to play any good, and he gives up. And Van Damme puts on the goalie uniform, and he's going to get sick, but, and he's out there, he saves a goal. He saves, he stops a puck, and then he looks at his son and does to which his son's like, that's my dad. That still doesn't make any sense because that was the daughter's thing, but yet that's a tell to him. But, yeah. And so then, after this, he climbs up to the thing. One more thing. So we have the Secret Service outside. One of the agents, played by Dorian Harewood, is out there, and he makes contact with Van Damme, and he gets into the building, and like, he wasn't doing anything. They were sitting out there, they weren't doing anything. Then when he comes in the building, he's told repeatedly not to come in the building, and then he comes in, and I'm like, there's something with him. But they don't make it obvious enough. I'm like, no, there's not, because the more he, it seems like he's actually trying to do his job. But then there's one point where Powers Booth gets a phone call from someone, we don't see where it's from. Every time he gets a phone call, we see who's on the other side. Here we don't see it. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a twist. It's that guy, Secret Service guy. And it was. He's in on it, but he doesn't last long. And he gets fired, literally. Van Damme sets him on fire because he put some kind of flammable liquid in the squirt gun and sets him on fire with a lighter. So, yeah. But, like I said, Van Damme goes up, swings in, saves the day, but Powers gets away, puts on a wig and a fake mustache, But the daughter is able to figure out who he is because of a stamp she put on him earlier, I guess. And then, or a stamp, I don't know. Stamp was put on earlier to go into the place, I guess is what it was. But everyone has those stamps, right? So, I don't know. I don't know. Was there some kind of thing earlier I missed? I don't know. But, yeah. So he takes the daughter again. What's the point of him rescuing the daughter if she's just gonna get taken again? It's like he goes, he finds the son. They find the son. We do the thing. Dorian Harewood's character, he shows up. He says, "Hey, your dad sent me to get you." He's like, "I was told never to leave. You need to listen." I am. And so he doesn't leave. And then, after everything's fallen down, everyone else is leaving, he sits there. Van Damme shows up with his daughter. They pick him up. They go. Daughter sees Powers Booth because of the thing on his hand, which everyone should have those, but I don't understand how that tells her. But and so he kidnaps the girl again. What was the point of of Van Damme rescuing the girl? He's just gonna take her hostage again. But yeah, we do the whole thing. Blows up the chopper. Saves the girl. And then he's taken away and he's held as a hero. So, yeah. I had some issues with it, logic-wise, but if you turn your brain off, it's a solid action flick. And even with my problems, I still gotta say that Sudden Death is pretty good. Nowhere near as good as Time Cop, but still pretty good. So, what are your thoughts on Sudden Death? Let me know in the comments below. Before I go, I just want to know that I'm focusing, at least for these first 5 reviews, on certain actors. Like, actors you would kind of associate with action. We have Van Damme, Stallone, Seagal, Jason Statham, and Jackie Chan. So those are the 5 I'm starting with, but there will be more. And of course I would do multiple of these action stars, especially Van Damme, because you know I'm a Van Damme fan. So yeah, thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.